Welcome back, friends. In this video, we shall look at an extremely interesting enhancement to the Fruit Slasher game, whereby we are going to use a timer block to detect a combo or a hat trick. Now, what I mean by this is that the user has slashed three fruits in a quick succession. First, let's see what this means, and then we will see how we can build this thing in the game. To do this, I'm taking you to my enhanced game. Now, I want to highlight a few things that I've done to increase the chances of a combo, right? So first thing first, I'll make sure that there are five fruits coming along instead of 1 to 4. Next, I've ensured that there's no bomb created, so switch costume 1 to 5. I'll also make sure that the fruits are kind of close to each other so that it becomes easy for me to get a combo. Also, I've given myself lots of lives so that I don't get disturbed by this. Right? With this, I hope to get a combo fairly fast. Let's just try this out, right? So, okay, there you go. I got a combo right again, right? So I got once again. So basically, if I slash these fruits fast enough, then I get a combo. Now, sometimes it looks like I've gotten it, but really haven't, right? We just saw two instances of when we got it, right? So let's see. Let's go back to the code and see what goes on here and how do we, build this thing, right? So uh, let's see first from the PPT, right? Now, first thing, what is a combo mode? Like I said, if three fruits are slashed in a quick succession, we call it a combo. To determine if this has happened, we can use a timer block and the list block. Now, timer will allow us to see how quickly something has happened, how much time has elapsed. Lists will allow us to maintain history and hence keep checking this. Yeah. So the idea really is that every time a fruit is slashed, we record the time since the last fruit was slashed. Now, this sentence may look a little complicated, but what it really means is that let's say a fruit is slashed now, we try to see how long before the previous fruit was slashed, right? And remember that happens because if we reset the timer immediately after a fruit is slashed, the timer value at the next slash will be this value. So what it means really is that let's say I read the timer value and I got reset when a fruit is slashed, right? Remember, resetting will set the timer to 0. Now I wait, and this is the fruit is slashed next over here. This is time access. So after some time, next fruit is slashed. When I read this timer value, it will tell me how much before the previous fruit has been slashed. So this value is what I'll get, right? And I can keep storing this in a list and then I can do some analysis on this list. So that's the idea. Of course, let's do it step by step. And for that purpose, I'll go back to my game that I'm building up. Now here, first thing I'll do is to give myself a combo sprite, right? So combo sprite has no, very simple costume. I'll just call it say COMBO. I'll center this and I'll make it a little bit large so it looks nice, right? I'll just center this nicely and place it here, right? So that's it. Now, when the game starts, I want this thing to be hidden. So we'll just call it also combo, right? This name of the sprite. So I want this combo sprite to be hidden. So obviously I must go to looks and say hide, right? I'll hide this, and also additionally, like I said, I'm going to create a list here to keep track of this slashing times. So what I'll do is that I'll create a variable and call say make a list, right? And this list I'll call slash times, right? Now we'll uh, as all of the games, we'll first delete all of slash times when the game starts, and I'll add a 0 to slash times, right? Now this will become clear as we go along, but for now I'll just add 0 to slash times. Now I have used a broadcast from the fruit sprite, right? So whenever the fruit is cut, remember this is the condition, touching color this and moving. If a fruit is cut, I broadcast a message called slashed, right? Now when I get this slashed, so I'll go to the combo sprite and I'll say when I receive slashed, now this is where I want to start recording my slashing time. So let's just do it a little bit step by step, so that becomes clear what we are trying to do, right? So I'll go to the variables again and I'll say add thing to, let's say, slashed here, but the slash times, and this thing that I'll add is the timer, right? Now first let's do this before resetting, and this gives us an intuition of what's going on, right? So let's say I did this. First one is 0. Now I go and slash, let's say, one fruit, I got 3.2 there, right? I slash two more fruits, I got these times, right? Now notice that these times are strictly increasing, and that's because that's happening because the timer is recording when this event happens, right? So for example, I've got 13 list here, but every time this 15.7, 15.8, 16.9 and so on and so forth. So that's because it's the absolute time that's being recorded. So the last entry say 28.5. So I started the game 28 seconds back, and that's why it's coming like this, right? But like I said, I really do not need to know what is the absolute time. In fact, what I want to know is what is the difference between these, the difference between the slashing times, right? So when was the present fruit slash with respect to the previous fruit slashing, right? So how do I do that? Like as mentioned earlier, I can just reset the timer here. And now this is very interesting because when I do this and I start the game, so notice when I add this, first one is 3.069. Now, when I slash this guy, it's 2.9 seconds, which means I did this 2.9 seconds from the previous slashing, right? And so on. So every time I slash, I just record how long it took me before I, basically how long was the previous slashing, right? So this gap is what now I'm recording, right? But again, notice this list is just growing. Every time I slash something, I get, I get basically some elements added to the list, but this is really not needed because all I need to look at is the last three slashings, right? Which means that I can actually keep trimming this list, right? And how do I do that? What I can do is that I can say if, say, length of this list becomes more than three, right? So three because I'm interested in, three fruits to be slashed together. So I'll just say if length of this list becomes more than so length of, let's say, slash times becomes more than 3, then I can delete the very first entry, right? And why does that help? Because remember, the very first entry is the oldest entry, so I really do not need it. I can just delete it because I'm just interested in the history for the last 3 slashes, right? So I'll say delete one of, say, slash times. So let's just see this briefly, what's going on. So when I start this again, so let's say I get these fruits. I slash 1, I slash 2, so I got 0.9, 0.33. The next time it comes, I just delete the first one, right? So the previous, previous, history is gone, but I've got the last 3 fruits history available to me, right? In fact, I think I just did a combo there. Once I build this, we'll see. Yeah. Uh, Now, with this done, the question now is how can I figure out if there is indeed a combo, right? So for that purpose, let's go back to the presentation just a moment and just kind of imagine how this list actually evolves, right? Basically, I've got, say, T0, T1, which is, say, the times that have elapsed. So I keep adding into this list. As you can imagine, starts with 0, then I go to 0, T1, 0, T0, T1, 0, sorry, T0, T1, T2, and so on and so forth. And let's say T3, T4 represents my combo, right? So there'll be a point the moment this event happens, moment this particular fruit is slashed, my list will contain T2, T3, and T4, right? Similarly, T6, T7 represents a combo. These two happen really fast, let's say, because this is a time axis. So these two happen really fast. So T5, T6, T7 will also represent a combo event, right? So what I'm trying to get at is that to determine a combo, all I need to do is to look at the last 2 elements of this list, right? And if they happen to be smaller than a certain number, then we have had a combo, right? So that's the philosophy we'll follow, and we'll just build the code for this. So what I can do is that whenever my list becomes more than 3, it means I've received this broadcast, timer has been reset. I will go and issue a new broadcast called, let's say, check for combo, right? So let's call it, say, check combo. So I want to basically determine if there's been a combo. And how do I do that? Like I said, I can look at this list. So I'll say when I receive uh, check combo, I have to put a condition that if my second element and third element are smaller than a certain number. So I have to use an AND operator here because both of them must be smaller than the number. Only then there is a there's a combo, right? So I'll say this something less than something. So now that 50 will come to in a moment, but I can just populate the first element, which is that in item 2 of this, of, let's say, slash times, item 2 of slash times, and say duplicate this item, say 3 of slash times is less than some number, right? So let's say is less than some number, and if this happens, then we know that a combo has happened. So I need to create a clone of myself, because remember, in the state of combo, I create that clone, and that clone will do some magic for me, right? So I'll say create a clone of myself, and of course I must define what happens when I start as a clone. So in this case, I want the clone to show, I want the clone to go to the center of the screen, and I want it to just sort of move upwards, right? So this is quite simple code actually. I'll show, then I'll say forever, let's say change y by 5 maybe, right? So that it starts moving upwards or set. So change y by, say, 5, and if touching edge, then I can delete this clone, right? So basically it will go up all the way to the top, and it will delete itself the moment it reaches that top, right? So I'll say if, say, touching edge, then delete this clone, right? So I mean, that's all really I need to know, and this is fairly straightforward. what we have done here. So now let's see what happens, right? So the question now is, what should these values be, right? Now, basically, it can't be 50 because then everything will be 50 means 50 seconds, right? So it means everything will be seen as a, as a combo. That doesn't make sense. What I found is that if I keep it, let's say 0.3, right? 0.3 is kind of hard to get actually. If you want to make it liberal, we can, let's say, make it less than 1, right? But let's say, let's try 0.3, and I'll make this. I think I made the same changes here too, where I'll get a lot of fruits and I'll never get a bomb. Yeah, so I'll never get a bomb here because it's 1 to 5. And also I think I've given myself even more lives, 1,000 lives here, and I'll get, let's say, I'll also get, say, 6 fruits, let's say, right, which are sort of coming close to each other. This is just to increase my chances of getting a combo, right? Obviously in the actual game we won't do this, yeah. And now, so I made this minus 50 and 50, right? So let's just see what happens here. If I did this, right, so this list will start forming. Now I get lots of fruits. I slash them, but I did not do this fast enough. In fact, scored only 2. So again, I scored only 2, so it's only 4. This time I did 3. Okay, so I did get multiple combos here, right? That's because I'm just slashing them faster. There's so many fruits over there. I'm getting multiple combos created, right? So this is basically the idea. It's kind of very, very interesting, uh, you know, and I think quite amazing. So do try this. I hope you like this, and do share your feedback in the comments if you have any. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.